noticed that you named your son Castle. Is it because of Castle Matal?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There is only Castle, the one.
If God had to bless you with another 5 sons, will there be a Julius or a Jacob also on the names?
Probably. When I was in Cuba, the ANC took me to Cuba for political classes. You are talking about Mshuluzi, and I'm talking about real stuff here. I don't know how does Mshuluzi come in. There is no leadership at the level of local government, and that's where lies the problem. You go to municipality our comrades, when they want to hire you, they want to hire you because you've got a beautiful, nice hairstyle. We
You
don't know
have a
fear.
progressive program that they let down, and now it's run by the EFF, assisting and putting people to school. That should be a concern.
It's a concern because now, for example, is the greediness of the material condition.
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Escape to the luxurious Meropa Hotel in Polokwane and immerse yourself in a world of Moroccan-inspired grandeur. With 54 standard rooms and 4 luxurious suites, our hotel offers affordable accommodation options tailored to suit your needs. Whether planning a conference or seeking a weekend escape, our hotel provides the perfect setting for your next adventure. For bookings, email sunmeropahotel@suninternational.com or call our hotel reception on 015-290-5400.
My name is DJ Cappuccino, Fortune Maswangani, Mhlabe, Jingindaba wa Mkachane, Mkachane wa Holeni, Holeni wa Mashangu, Mashangu wa Mpatsi, Mpatsi wa N'washihoxani, Mpatsi wa Nkhandlane, Nkhandlane wa xitlhelo xa xikaya, xa le ndleleni, xa ku khwenyuta vahundzi, va ndlela, va ku rhandza ku tlanga hi ku tovana. Holeni, gape ke Tebogo, ke ngwana wa Mmatladi wa Pula ya Marole, ke nna setlogolo sa Bakgatla. Bakgatla ba Mosetla wa Magana le Kgomo ba re ha e namele setlhare a e je boreku. Welcome to another episode of Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino, the first episode in 2025. And we are saying thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for checking our content. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you especially for those who subscribed during December while we were not doing anything. We wish you all the best in 2025. Today I have an amazing person, Dr. Boni David Che Selane, who is a South African politician who has represented the African National Congress in Limpopo Provincial Legislature and also has served his time, selflessly so, in the ANC Youth League, African National Congress Youth League. This is a person who holds qualification, Bachelor's of Laws, Bachelor's of Technology in Public Management, Masters of Laws, and also Master of Public Affairs, and also has a doctoral degree, Doctor of Laws. This is really, really amazing for a person who's busy, for a person who's an activist, for a person who's always dealing with something, dealing with people, processing people, being processed, betraying people, being betrayed by people. A person who's always worried about something to achieve such. And most importantly, this is a person who published academic articles in international journals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Dr. Che Selane.
No, thank you. I don't know whether to call you Mr. Maswangani or DJ Cappuccino, but I must thank you, but also thank your listeners or your viewers. And I'm saying a new year.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Like it's really an honor. Like I said before, that I think you're a heavyweight. I think your story is something that is still going to be discussed in future. And I actually see something that you continuously develop yourself. And such men, there is no way they won't change the course of history. I believe that in 20 years' time, there'll be people reading about you. There'll be people checking this content and really appreciating what you're doing. Thank you for glorifying and honoring an invite to Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
No, thanks.
Che, I want just a little bit. You know, I'm going to avoid that we discuss crude politics, but I want to take the viewers back then, take them to where, you know, that village boy, the family structure, schooling system, what inspired you, you know, and also the transition of you going to university, first time being a first-year student, the decisions you took, in for instance, the course you took at the university, your journey, just for people to have a glimpse into who is this person.
Yeah, well, once again, let me take this opportunity to thank you for affording me the time to talk with you. Likewise, you have said that I'm from a poor rural village called Che Selane, and I schooled at Munching Primary School, where I've transitioned to Nelson Ramdika High School. And I've experienced academic challenges at that time, to an extent that I failed, for example, grade 8. Then I passed, I failed grade 9. Then I passed. Because of the situation at that time, my parents decided that I must leave the school and attend somewhere, because
you're a slow learner.
yeah, I'm a slow learner, I was not good at all. But when I transitioned to Besimaga High School, that is where I discovered in grade 10 that I'm not necessarily...
You're not done.
yeah, but I'm the best. Because I was the best in class in Besimaga High School until I matriculated in 2001. And by look of things at that time, I'm the person who did not like much education, because there were no program that seeks to orientate us the importance or the significance of education that time. I'm speaking about the career expo, career guidance.
Yeah,
and
you
so
just
forth.
going to
I
school.
just go to school.
Yeah.
And I started to read in matric at that time. I've never knew or tasted the medicine of reading books. And I passed grade 12 at that time, and I went to the University of Limpopo. That's where also, you know, something that I want to share with you. I didn't know what is it that I'm going to do. I didn't know which
You
which
wanted
career
to go to
program.
university.
Yeah, because people are going to university.
Yeah.
You know, so if you know what motivated us is the fact that one person in a village will go to university. When he comes back with nice clothes, carrying a bag. We wanted to be like that person, having a space also in the family. In a family, you know how they used to treat us.
Oh, the
If, for
status
example,
that
yeah.
comes with someone coming from
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
University of KZN, Durban.
Yeah, we wanted. Yeah, we wanted like that.
Yeah.
So when I arrived in the University of Limpopo in 2002, I didn't know what to do. Then there was a man called Selane. I think he was of similar the age group. We were studying, I think, with Dr. Maboja at that time and so forth. I saw him passing because he was my role model in the secondary school when I was in Nelson Ramdika.
Okay.
I just told my uncle, because he was the one who accompanied me to university, and say, I want to do the degree which this one is doing. I didn't know whether he's doing political science. I didn't know whether he's doing law. But what I discovered at that time is that he was doing law, and ultimately I chose LLB. as my career. Yeah.
And your political consciousness, your activism, did you start in high school? What happened there?
DJ, I think high school at that time, Renan never tshwarela di-5, which means that for you to become a politician, if your parents hear that, they will be against you. I remember, I think in 2000, the students or learners at large, they wanted me to become the president, and they've elected me as the president of Besimaka High School. Immediately after that process, my younger sister went to tell my mother and say, Pela, my brother is into politics.
What politic?
They came in the school, insulted me. They refused me to become the president. Then, when I went to university, there were leaders immediately after my registration. If you remember the history of Tefulo, there were leaders which I met there. Bridgman Mkabela, may his soul rest in peace. Dr. Mawocha, Solomalesa, all those that I met. At that time, it was what we call a strike against Professor Fitzgerald, who was very much divisive, entrenching racialism in the institution.
What year was it?
It was in 2002. Then I joined that strike. I was in the far front, and therefore many leaders, they were very much happy that here comes a leader who's not afraid. Then I was recruited to join the Progressive Youth Alliance in that particular year. It's then that I joined real politics.
Really conscientized.
Yes.
And where you got the name Che.
Yeah, where I got the name Che Guevara.
Oh, yeah.
I inherited this name in the university in my first year.
Because when I came to the University of Limpopo in 2005, I used to see you a lot. Activism, when there's a strike, and I'll always see you in a t-shirt, either your youth league or your ANC, or there was always a message in what you are wearing. Because I would see you were one of those who were really committed. And also I would come to some of your discussions. I think you used to have discussions where you discuss political ideology and argue and everything. And sometimes I'll just be there because I was interested in who's in power, who's in SRC. So I was bound to know, okay, fine, this is Che. What does it do? Okay, this is and that and that. And then I think you and me, we had an interaction for the first time around 2007. It was around election time because I used to participate a lot with assisting that there are t-shirts, there are what. So that political consciousness is something that I wanted to capture, like what really moved you to actually join in there. Then, how long did it take you to get your first degree, bachelor's degree?
Mr. Masonga, it took me years. It took me almost 7 years.
It looks like you.
Yeah, my 4-year degree, LLB degree, I did it for 7 years. In actual fact, suppose I was supposed to be part of those that were supposed to be dealt with by the rule. I think it was Rule G20, which affected many of leaders.
Is it which one is it? Was it for the 1 year academic performance?
Yes.
It's Rule A19.
Yeah,
I will never forget that rule.
A19. Yes. Yeah, I studied for 7 years for LLB because my focus has been always too much into these things of politics. You know, at some point, when you are supposed to attend the classes, students are coming to the leadership to raise some concerns. Sometimes you miss classes where you are supposed to attend management on certain things that they are not good for students. So I ultimately could not
night
finish.
when other students are studying, you are plotting to disrupt tomorrow.
Yes.
I think it's a lot of And most of you guys, comrades, most of you didn't make it. Most of you didn't get degrees. I think there's a time where maturity kicks in and you realize, I think this is what I came to do at the university. But I've seen a trend that, I mean, who would imagine you'll have 2 master's degrees and a doctoral degree? I think many people wouldn't even imagine that.
Definitely yes, because given the challenges that one has faced at that time, warranted someone to be committed to academic study. But with the fact that we could foresee certain things in future on what will happen, to share with you what motivates me to study very hard is the fact that some of professors that we see in institution of higher learning, they were taught by apartheid. They were not of ANC background. Now, these professors, they were enjoying during apartheid and are still enjoying even under democracy. So that thing motivated me that in future, even if the government that comes, whether is this government of the ANC or not government of the ANC, myself personally, I should have grow to be something at least important in society.
Wow.
Because what I didn't want a situation where I'm known that, no, I'm the former provincial secretary, I'm the former branch chairperson and so forth. I wanted to study necessarily because I knew that through education and I can unlock many bottlenecks.
Wow.
But the other motivation is the fact that, in politics is like an athletic field of relay. It's a dangerous game on its own. The way I've been groomed in the PYA, and I know the politics of the ANC. Many people, for example, they didn't love me. I know they hate me for speaking truth to power. And I don't want a situation where a person so that, for example, I can be hired or I can be empowered. Even today, I knew the situation. I prepared myself psychologically that this time will come, but also learning from experience of many leaders who led the youth league before. When you lead the youth league, you have committed a serious political crime. You will be persecuted. You will be traumatized. You will be closed outside. You will not be given job. You will not be hired. All those things motivated me to study very hard because I know the enemy, after all, is against me. The enemy is within the African National Congress. That's what motivated me to pursue my academic study. Even now, the enemy is not happy with me because you know why? I'm a doctor. I'm a member of the legislature. I'm not given any portfolio committee, which I don't complain. And that in itself made many people within the ANC not to love some of us. You know
And
why?
the enemy is a comrade.
He's a comrade within. Because after 1994, comrades are few in the ANC. Many of them, they are not comrades. For example, if I can tell you, I want to give you on Dr. Mabocha. I don't want to give you about myself.
Yeah.
Dr. Mabocha has got a Master's of Public Administration. But what is
Dr.
it?
Mabota.
Dr. Mabota, yeah.
Yeah. Because they will think
Yeah.
you are referring to Thabo Mabocha now. We are giving
Yeah.
him doctoral.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mabota.
Yeah.
That guy has got a Master of Public Administration.
Yes.
Look now what is happening.
They kicked him out.
They kicked him out in the ANC.
Yeah. And
They don't want to give him a job. Even when he qualified to grow up within the African National Congress. But the comrade with, and there are many spaces, in many strategic sector of power, where the ANC must deploy the best so that they can advance the
He was a
policies.
vocal guy.
He was a vocal guy. I know him personally.
He's suffering with me. You saw us, we were sharing Love Brown in the morning
I saw it.
with water.
I saw it.
We're
Doctor,
suffering.
the whole doctor.
The whole doctor suffering with me.
Yeah.
A DJ. no future.
It's problematic. It's problematic.
But
This is the kind of the
you
ANC
sound
that we
like
see.
you striking me as someone who you haven't lost confidence in the NC, but you are giving in now. You are saying it looks like it's something you can't repair. It's a process. Because like I actually posted something on Monday that it looks like the ANC is fighting with the ANC. I think the enemy is the ANC. And in this way, the enemy of the ANC is the ANC in a way that the distraction is actually coming from within. And it looks like you have reached a point where you realize this thing is now no longer controllable. It's just a snowball building.
Definitely. This organization, when it was formed to liberate our people from the socio-economic bondage,
Yes.
which was designed by colonialism and apartheid. And now we have won or defeated apartheid strategically in 1994.
Yeah.
Now the ANC is in power. Remember what Tambo said? Or Tambo prophesied a long time ago to say the difficulties and challenges facing the ANC. It's not when the ANC is fighting against apartheid. The difficulties and challenges facing the ANC is when the ANC is leading government, like now. Because we are even expected to lead the enemy.
What he was saying is that the ANC is not tested enough until you have power.
Until we have power. And when we are in power, these are the elements that we see now today, where a comrade who has been well polished by the ANC and the youth league to that effect.
Trusted, groomed, some in exile.
You know, they have been punished for being resilient or talking truth to power. And that's what we see. But the people of South Africa, they don't love the ANC for the sake of loving. It's because the ANC mobilized them through program. And they follow up that program. Amongst other those programs is the expropriation of land without compensation, the creation of our own state bank, nationalization of the state asset and other monopoly industries. That's what the people of South Africa were being mobilized upon. But if, for example, we as the African National Congress, we forget that our people will be disillusioned and continue to lack trust in us and continue not to disappoint us by not going to vote. Or if they go to vote, they go and vote for oppositions.
You know, my producer advised me to sway a little bit away from politics, especially the politics of the African Congress, with this conversation that we're having. But I think, you know, it's something that it's irresistible. We can't resist it to actually touch a little bit on it. The way you are striking me as someone who's saying things are wrong, things are going wrong, and things are getting bad. When do you think the ANC started to lose it? Kore, is there any activity where you're thinking, if this thing didn't happen, the ANC would still be stronger?
When I was in Cuba, the ANC took me to Cuba for political classes. And amongst other things that I've learned there is on revolutionary culture and morality.
Yeah.
I will just give you 1 to 2 sentences in a book. I was told by professors in Cuba that any revolutionary organization that its leadership is not united, any organization that its leadership is united, then that organization or its leadership or vice versa, they render the organization incapable of prosecuting a successful national democratic revolution. Which means that the resolution that we took in Polokwane of expropriation of land without compensation, all the programs that mobilize the people of South Africa that have already entailed.
You agreed on those things?
I agree.
As the ANC?
We agreed on that. We agreed on that since Polokwane conference. then the leadership of the ANC, for example, if they are not united, they will not implement or those decisions or those resolutions.
And the problem started after Polokwane,
Do you understand?
the disbandments.
Do you understand? So there is no way in which the revolutionary movement can succeed in prosecuting a revolution without its leaders being united.
After Polokwane, that's when the ANC Youth League was reconfigured. Ne?
Yes. That was the beginning of the problem. Because the Youth League at that time, its ideological debate was suppressed. Speaking about the very same program that I'm talking about. So then it becomes a problem. So now, in Obarena, we want positions to lead, to enrich ourselves and our friends. You go to municipality, our comrades, when they want to hire you, they want to hire you because you've got a beautiful, nice hairstyle. They can't hire you on the basis of capacity. So that's where lies the problem. And these things, these socio-economic ills, they are the ones that continue to impact negatively into the African National Congress. That's why when you go at the time of voting, you found difficulties in recruiting people to come and vote. Because even our IDP at the level of municipal level, from 1994, you go to a home, you find an old woman, we ask her, what is it that we can do to you to improve your condition? That old woman tells you that, no, DJ Cappuccino, I need water, at least if you can re-gravel this road, then I'm fine. You come in the next local government after 3 years, you ask the same thing. You come again. It's like when I come to you, I indicated this earlier, that if you send me and say, go and buy horses water, and therefore I go that side and come back and say, you want horses water or Bonaka water? And you say horses water. And again, repeatedly so. You'll be irritated. And that's what the people are doing. Because they're expecting us to give them quality services. Whereas we are not doing that. And that's where lies the problem. And we don't give them quality service. They told us about these problems of water. And for example, we are not prioritizing. Exactly. And that's where lies the problem. They say, we need an RDP house. You give them sanitation, toilet. There is no leadership at the level of local government. And that's where lies the problem. And my comrade, I gave you one example that there are good even doctors in the ANC, but they are not utilized. You know why? Somebody even told me that, hey, what's that? A leader of a faction in the ANC. We are here.
And now when these doctors change homes, go to other political formations, now they are labeled now they are sellouts.
Opportunist.
They are sellouts there. But they have been dealt with in the movement more than when actually they've left.
Definitely. That's what is happening.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I wanted to. There are some things that I've seen that you're raising on social media that are pertinent, especially with regard to higher education. And one thing that you also noted is the mismatch between the number of matriculants who qualify for higher education and the limited capacity of the university in terms of absorbing them in the system. I don't know if there's any way that you want, points that you want to put across with regard to that problem.
Definitely. It's worrisome. As we are speaking now, there are a lot of parents that have conglomerated in many gates of the university. What they want is the access to education, especially at this tertiary institution.
Just a leg in.
For example, University of Limpopo, Johannesburg University, University of Venda. There are many parents who have assembled outside. They are trying by all means that their kids, at least they can be accepted in the university. They've made applications last year, and they were being responded by being given what you call the student numbers and so forth. But also these students, they've performed very well in terms of their matric result. Their matric result have relatively improved very well. Now, they must get access to education in tertiary institution. Now, university, as we are speaking, they received also a number of applications, even above 200 or so.
At the
200,000. Yeah, 200,000, for example. Yeah. Each year, they receive more than 200,000.
They can only absorb
Yeah.
how many first-year students?
5,000.
Oh my God.
Only 5,000. And the question that remains is that where will these other learners who performed very well go? Because reality is that these learners, if they are being rejected by the system, they will perpetuate the cycle of poverty in their own rural communities, but also inequalities.
And become DJs.
And you know, so now these things happen when all of us we know the problems, and this problem is continuous. Every year they've been rejected. For example, a student will be given a student number, for example, in 2003, that he can use that student number maybe in 2025 or in 2027, as long as, for example, he applied and so on. And that difficulty is prompted by the fact that university also has got limited capacity to absorb quite a number of students into their place. And this problem is not the problem or an individual problem. Is a problem which is systematically and deliberately designed by the colonial legacy.
Tell me about it.
Because the legacy of colonialism, when they built this university, they never thought that many black child could access these tertiary institutions.
They never had black people in mind.
They never had black people in mind. In fact, they built or constructed those universities for themselves. Because black people were only good for being police officer, that they will be instructed to go and punish the other black person, to be a nurse. Doctors will only be few. They can't be even more than 20 or 50 at that particular time. So now, immediately after the strategic defeat of apartheid in 1994, we are sitting with a problem. A problem which I've already stated that our metric result have improved relatively well. Now, these young ones, they must go and access higher education. And their rise to access to education is limited on the basis that universities now have got the limited capacity, which is a cause for concern. And the Department of Education is well aware of this problem for quite some time.
For 30 years.
For 30 years. Is well aware of this problem for quite some time. And it appears that there is no any strategy or any means to address this problem. I think the Deputy Minister, Comrade Butemanamela, I saw him in Facebook when they were talking about a system. They've designed a system of central clearance, registration, admission clearance, where you apply centrally, they look you for a space. You know, that system which they've designed is not assisting, and it's not assisting at all costs. Even if myself, I've not yet tested it. Because it's not the solution to the problem that higher institutions are faced with. The higher institutions are faced with that challenge where they do not have capacity to absorb these people, but yet they don't, in actual fact, in terms of infrastructure, they don't increase the capacity. in terms of building your lecture halls, building, for example, accommodation so that they can absorb many students as possible. You gave, for example, an example of other universities or other countries, like in the United States, where they can absorb more than, they've got more than 5,000 universities. And in South Africa, we've got only 26 universities. Which to me, the population of South Africa is relatively increasing. And these young ones are in the majority demanding access to education. And the reality of the matter is that universities now, together with the Department of Higher Education, they have not yet resolved or come up with solution to resolve the challenge. Attempts, I think, were made over the past 7 to 10 years, where at least, for example, if we were to give an example with the University of Limpopo, the students from Mpumalanga, they will come to University of Limpopo.
Yeah, it was University of Kamaswati.
Yeah. Now, at least they've built a university in Mpumalanga.
Jacob Zuma built it. Ne?
And I can say the government, led by the ANC, built that particular institution.
With
And
Jacob Zuma as the president.
Zuma was the president at that time. Yeah. They've built that institution.
Yeah.
At least the number of students who are coming to the University of the North, that they might not necessarily be the same.
Msholozi.
You are talking about Msholuzi, and I'm talking about real stuff here. I don't know how does Msholuzi come in with
progressiveness.
of higher education.
With progressiveness.
Because he has never tested the medicine of coming to university.
He doesn't know how the aircon of auditorium hit.
No, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. But at least he was a leader of government who initiated the construction of Mpumalanga University.
I think we just joking about this, but you wonder what were the comrades thinking for the past 30 years about this matter. Because remember, even after 94, there were bottlenecks in students being accepted. I did my matric in 94. To go on tertiary, especially in formerly white institutions, was not easy. We had to be high performers to be accepted there. And already most of our brothers and sisters were left out. And some, it was like they had to be dumped in other universities that are in former homelands and everything, just for them to be in the system. But there was a problem already.
Yes.
And as you're explaining, to look at United States with more than 5,300 universities, well, it's a big country. But us having 26, it's a call for concern. And one other thing that I was even thinking, I'm saying, we are a mining province as Limpopo. We don't even have an institution that offer mining engineering courses that can assist for people to actually take part there. For 30 years, nobody could think of it. To say, it's about time, can we set up maybe a university or a program, fuse it in the existing universities that will actually touch on that. And that's when you will think that, I don't know, comrades maybe we're still preoccupied about our issues of water and RDPs and everything, but to neglect something that we are now experiencing, which is actually a ticking time bomb. Imagine your student coming home, having performed with distinctions, but not having a place to go. That's frustration.
Definitely.
On its own.
Definitely. Because if you look at the Department of Higher Education Infrastructural Development Plan, it's long that it's been there. But as to, because the solution here is for the department to build more infrastructure in the university, to build more universities. That is the only solution. And the department must come out clean, because we know that issues of resource constraint limit them not to build these, what you call, universities. But now,
I actually beg to differ with regards to resources, Doctor. I think it's just lack of political will. There was no way they could fail to have maybe even built an extra 20 universities. If you look at the money that has been spent on even other things.
Definitely, that is where I wanted to come. But I want to take you through a process, if there was a willingness. That even if there are difficulties, the department must come out and conscientize our people about the difficulties that they are meeting. Not to build these particular institutions, not to build more universities. Because again, the other reason, we know that when they fail to advance a certain program, resources is always at the center of the argument that they will bring. I'm saying that they should have come clean and conscientize our people. Obviously, that is why I'm saying that the solution here is that the Department of Higher Education, with the system that they have in collaboration with Public Works, they must build more universities so that we are able to minimize this, I can't say result, to minimize the problems that we're having in terms of access to higher education. Necessarily because, like what I said, it's not an individual problem that we can point in the case of University of Limpopo and say is the problem of Professor Mahalung. It's not his problem. It is the problem of the Department of Higher Education in general, because they must have that issue that we are raising, the political will to go and build these particular universities so that they can be able to minimize the problems that we are having. But by look of things, with the strategy that they are coming with of central admission, where you apply to them, they look for placement, it's not a long-lasting solution. To me, that exercise is very fanatic because it does not even intend to resolve the serious problem that we are confronting with. Because I thought that given all these problems that university they are facing with, not only university, but with the TVET, because we are still, many of the institutions that we are having, they were built during apartheid. And many of them are still dilapidated. Many of them, they can't even accommodate more of those students.
You know, I'm even still, I wanted to also come to that. But if we can go and ask how many millions were already spent on that central system that you were just explaining, I think we will even be shocked.
Definitely.
On the millions that are only spent on that. But tell me, how effective is the government? Maybe let me put it this way. Exploring technical and vocational education and training, which is TVTs, and skills-based programs and alternatives, which are alternative to universities, and addressing the stigma around TVT. You know, TVTs are perceived to be those institutions you go because you were rejected at university. It's like they're not cool enough. I mean, can you actually come in there? Because you also wrote an article, an academic article, also explaining some of the stuff with regard to VETs, colleges. Can you just zoom in there, just zone in there to explain how you think TVETs can be alternatives or can actually help also even in the burden on addressing the societal issues and producing people who are ready and with necessary skills to go to the market and already work?
Yeah, I think, Mr. Maswangani, look, most of, like what I've said, most of the strategic sector of governance, they lack leadership with requisite skills. That is why there is a slow pace of service delivery.
Because when you get a doctorate, you become an enemy when you are in the movement. You are processed, sidelined, put on the bench.
Definitely. And this becomes a problem because even now we speak about the fourth industrial revolution. And well enough, it's so fanatic that we talk every day, fourth industrial revolution. But there are no practical element that shows that indeed, for example, as a country, we are ready to advance towards that. Myself, when I've made analysis, I've identified TET Colleges as a tool so that our own government can realize its developmental agenda in terms of the National Development Plan. Why these TET Colleges? Necessarily because they will offer programs that are carefully designed to address not only the problems of service delivery, but the problems of leadership in this particular country. These TET Colleges will help so that our own government can advance the program of realizing the fourth industrial revolution. Because if these TET Colleges are in their majority are there and the government is ready, for example, to fund this TET, obviously we'll go somewhere, we'll go because their program is about artisanship. Their program is about your artificial intelligence. Their program, they are aligned with the demand of the market for today. So now, most of the school, especially post-secondary school, and even at the secondary level, we do not have, for example, as a county, we do not have what we call the schools that are designed to equip learners with the skills that are needed. If you check, most of the schools, school is just a school because they must teach history and geography. The good part is that they are physical science and so forth. To what extent does most of our schools, 70% of our schools, especially at secondary level, advance the program that the market demand? It is practically impossible. So the government, I think for now, for example, one of the proposals that I'm going to make is that we need to build 2 state-of-the-art schools in every district.
Yeah.
So that we practically begin to implement what we are talking about. Because this school at the secondary level, we want a situation where the learners, in actual fact, they will learn these robotic things. They will learn about artisanship. They will learn the programs that the market, the employer, need. Because as of now, we've got limited schools to advance that. So at the level of the TVET, it's good that we have, but the TVET colleges, they've got problems of underfunding. Even though NSFAS is there, but it doesn't, in actual fact, accommodate everything in terms of infrastructural development, in the sense that we expand infrastructure where there will be huge libraries, where there will be huge lecture halls, and so forth and so forth. So, which becomes, in actual fact, a problem. And these things, you are right to say, the perception that has been inculcated across society is for those who look at TVET colleges as they are inferior than universities. And our parents, I think they should begin to take TVET colleges very serious. It doesn't matter, because the challenges of unemployment in South Africa today are as a result of us going to university, studying psychology and so forth, without considering that we need artisanship, we need engineers. There are certain jobs that require robotic education. So now, we must change that perception of parents. We must change that perception in society to understand the significance of TVET college, because TVET colleges, they are playing a significant role in terms of skills transfer. As I've already indicated, that South Africa needs skills. If our people if our leaders do not have skills, what then left is to see this mediocrity at the level of local government, where people return money, to the national coffers, where people return money to the treasury without utilizing those resources. Nasar, because these sectors of governance, they hired more and more incompetent people who are sitting there for salary, but who are not assisting in terms of development. Then the TET colleges are there as an instrument to assist our own government, so that we realize the very same fourth industrial revolution that we talking about. It is pity that we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, but there are no practical elements that, for example, you can show that at the level of secondary or primary school, that this is the school where we build, we educate, we transfer skills for learners so that they become this and that. Like, look in China. In China, their primary education is basically on that, on vocational education and training. A grade 8 learner in China can assemble, for example, a gun, can assemble, for example, all these machines that, for example, were busy using it, these podcasting machines. But in South Africa, you will only pass matric. Immediately after that, you go to university. That's where you start to learn about certain things. Even when you have graduated, you still do not know the job. You still want other people to teach you how to do the job, so that you become a perfect employee. So TVET, they make you to become, when you graduate in TVET, you are not necessarily going to rely on government, that government must give you a job. When you graduate in TVET colleges, at least you can become employer. You can start your own business and do well, so that you can even employ others.
From the way
from the actual work that you do, unlike in university. So the challenges that we are having today of many lawyers, many advocates, people who want a job, because also we've got problems of unemployment, where certain employment needs skills. And number of graduates that we are producing in universities are not responding positively well to the demand of the market. So it is high time that we utilize the TVET colleges more than any other institutions, so that we are able to address the skills gap in South Africa, but also to address the issue which were raised by the ANC in terms of the National Development Plan.
So clearly, there's a need for an overall system, according to overall the whole education system, from even primary school level. I mean, you look at schools in China and even, as you were saying, in Japan, there are smart classrooms, proper digital learning tools, you know. Some of, I think, when was the first time you touched a computer in your life? In tertiary, most of us.
I started to know a computer when I went to university.
Yes. Can you imagine? And you look at schools in China, the kids are even being taught how to do programming and coding at a very young age.
Definitely.
Things that we think it's a miracle for you to do them. And you wonder if the leadership has never benchmarked for 30 years. The leadership has never said, here's a country is leading with regard to technologies, software development. Can we go to Taiwan?
We do benchmark, Mr.
Then
Maswana.
implementation?
We do benchmark. Many we do for academic tour. I mean, for what you call academic or political tour. Many of them, if you check them, that no, you have went to Cuba, and these are the lessons you have learned in terms of what we deployed you for.
It's for Instagram.
They went there for gallivanting.
It's for Instagram.
Yeah, it's
Pictures.
for Instagram pictures. There is nothing there to assist in terms of implementation. Because over the past years, I think the ANC government has done very well to take people to go to China. Even now, there are many of them who are in China. But when they come here for implementation, it's another thing. It's another thing, nothing implementation whatsoever, which becomes a problem in our society, in government in particular.
We are facing problems, man. We are facing, because you look at those other schools, the use of robotics in education. It's from primary school level, those things are there. E-learning platforms, distance education. There are students who don't even, who are already in UNISA.
Definitely.
But they can actually get on programs that are equipping them and empowering them to understand what's happening around the world. And that's why we even not globally competitive.
Definitely.
And you still look at the schooling system from where we come from. And when you go there, you realize that changes are very few. But we had leadership all this time. And I think it's about time we get into debate like that, Doctor.
Definitely.
Where we say, but guys, we've been sitting on our laurels. Nothing is happening with regard to this. Can we start to have a program that can change the education system? Yeah, from even primary school. And I don't know, what is your take on this 30% pass, 33% pass thingy? This thing you have passed with 33%.
You know, that thing of the 33%, it is something that will assist many, like what I've said, that many do have that requirement of 33% pass rate. They called it, I forgot this name. When you go to university, this is the target which I think they're expecting.
Because there's no university that wants someone with 33%.
Definitely.
Unless if maybe I'm ignorant or something.
Definitely. But even though the university are setting that particular target, likewise I said, the problem here, or my problem statement is that there are so many who have achieved even greater than that, but they are still, for example, left outside.
My point is that, how do we say you have passed matric with 33%, whereas universities, you don't actually meet the requirements?
Yes.
Let alone those who have qualified, but still don't get space in those institutions, obviously for the lack of infrastructure to cater for them. But now you continuously produce people who are saying upper passage, matric, matric. They celebrate and slaughter a goat to celebrate matric. Got 33%, which is not even allowed at the university. And hence, I always tell people, don't be afraid to advise your children to go and upgrade. You mentioned something about, and I love it, you failed grade what, you failed grade what. You still went back and did matric and changed schools and all that. My sister is a medical doctor. Is now into this, what do you call these things of helping people with their bodies and surgeries and everything. My sister, when she passed matric, Dr. Bert, she knew what she wanted. She wanted to do medicine. She didn't qualify. She didn't want to go take another option of doing something for the sake of coming with a bag from University USA and status. She went and upgraded and did maths, physics, and biology. And she did well, and she got to be admitted. And now she's one of the best in South Africa right now with regard to cosmetics. You know, can help. She's helping many people. So my point is that should be revisited in terms of when we now celebrate 80 what percent we have improved. How many are on the 33% level? You understand my debate here?
Yeah.
It's something that we really need to relook. I know that there's a way Blade would argue it, where it would seem like it's actually making sense in terms of giving people an opportunity. But I'm saying that if it is not good enough, people must be allowed to go and perfect it
Definitely.
so that it becomes good enough. With regard to, we're still talking about addressing the infrastructure part of it, building more universities and everything. But what is a pass? We need to have a line. When we say a person has passed, what do we mean really? You see, and the other thing that I wanted you to also zone in is the issue of the role of private education institutions in bridging this gap. You know, your Regenesis, your Mankosas, you know, don't you think we also need more of those to help our people?
Let me start with that issue of 33%. Remember that the higher education department has categorized these things of pass rate. There will be those that are of bachelor degree, which that are accepted in university. There are those that are of diploma, which are accepted in university, but some university might not want diploma. That are accepted in TET Colleges, most of the diplomas. But these ones that I think we are talking about is to give those that I think they failed an opportunity. Yes, I agree. I know that
My point is that there must not be an opportunity afforded to you if you have failed. You must go improve. Are we a country that says people shouldn't be allowed to go improve? We must accept them. The way we know the top 11 for us to go inside the soccer pitch to score goals, we need this level of own competence. But we bring you along.
I think, Mr. Maswangani, remember that even though you got that score, you'll not be accepted in any university. I think systematically, they've designed it in such a way that if you get that performance rate, you'll obviously not be accepted. But they will afford you an opportunity, like what you are saying, that you'll go there and redo your work so that you can improve your work, so that it's either you can be accepted at the level of diploma or a degree, depending on you, how did you in actual fact work at that particular point in time. I don't think that 33%, but the normal pass rate, I mean, to me, when I grew, it was above 50%.
Yeah.
It was above 50%. If you got 50%, at least at that time, they even called you Madada score.
They'll be lenient enough. I think
Lenient, yes.
E was 40 to 49%.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
In our era.
Yes.
And you know, they used to accept and afford you a chance.
Definitely.
Because of that. Honestly, the higher education needs reconfiguration. Real reconfiguration.
Yes. Yes.
But the other thing is the urban and rural divide with regard to access in education. Because there's disparities between urban and rural students accessing higher education. You know how difficult it is from the rural areas where we come from. And I was even thinking about this thing last night as I was preparing for this interview or this conversation that we're having, that having an institution of higher learning at a place is developmental
Definitely.
on its own. I think Mangweng, to be as developed as it is because of the presence of the University of Limpopo.
Yes.
Thohoyandou, to be the way it is because of the University of Venda. And I'm saying that if we pick any remote area, and insert an institution of higher learning, already we are on the path of a developmental program with regard to what's going to happen there. The development of housing will change. The people are going to come and work there. The students requiring this, the economic activity that happens around. And I think as a model, also, the leadership should also consider that inserting an institute of higher learning anywhere is developmental on its own.
No, that's true. That's true. That also includes the TET colleges. If you check any area, any rural area that has got TET, There are a lot of economic activities that are happening in that particular area. But I want to go back to address that thing, bridging the gap, especially on the private, because I think I've not yet done justice to it.
Yeah.
It's good that we must have more of private institutions that must bridge the gap, addressing the low rate of illiteracy in our society. But you know, the problem also with regard to this institution is that my problem that I'm having with them, they are not only for development, they are too much of profit.
Or the higher education,
This private
ones.
one, they are more much of a profit. Have we asked ourselves a question, why these comrades in the ANC, all of them, they are attending all these programs? And this person, you find that no, it's a man, has got all this responsibility, but no, this person, passage.
Mankosa and Regenesis.
No, I do not want to speak about the institution because it might have serious legal implications.
Yeah,
But I want to speak about these private institutions.
What comes to my mind is Mankosa and Regenesis.
Yes.
I'm also a student
Go,
at Mankosa.
go and check the comrades of the ANC. Kore o no tseba hore no, o ena yo a ka semphale o. O ena ke doma ya mafelelo ebile o tjhabile le sekolo. But this person ba re no, hai, ba re o passage. And you check the institution. Sometimes we need credibility, man. We need credibility in the university that we are advancing. Yourself, you are in the University of Limpopo, that's good. Even though, for example, you are going to Menkosa or Regenesis, there is no doubt, for example, about that. Because you have tested the medicine in the university.
Maybe they have a proper format, doctor,
Which format?
to assist the
There is no proper format to assist in the whole comrades in the ANC. If we are to investigate and make a thorough investigation, many people will be arrested. Because the reality is that these comrades in their numbers, you come here in the Limpopo province, in their numbers, go and check, start with the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC, go and check many of them. Which institution are you enrolling? They might give you private institution. Hani, what is the problem with the University of Limpopo? When I should have opted to these private institutions. They are there for profit. If I come with money, lot of money, as long as these ones who are advantaged because of tenders or business, they give them those courses.
So I think the point we're making is that all private institutions, not necessarily even institution of higher education.
Yes.
The main focus is profit.
They can
More
do
profit.
anything. They can do anything
For profit.
for profit. They can squeeze anything for profit. Kuro, motho o paletswe mona University of Limpopo man. This person,
Batla wa pesa.
ba re o na le masters, ba re wa public management from that private institution. Mara o no tseba re ntwe ka tlase ne ka sengwale.
You ask what underpins your study, with theoretical framework
Yes.
underpins your study. So,
Remember, the ANC is a school on its own. Despite the fact that you go to university, these people are good in terms of articulating.
yeah.
They are good in terms of talking the politics and their language. They are so convincing of the ANC. This comrade, you do not have doubt. Mara, go and check their academic the academic qualification. Private. Why? They don't attend classes, those ones. The things that are done in private institutions, they are very much scary.
No, but the program that, I dropped out because of financial exclusion. I'm left with one semester for my master's in public admin.
Where?
Mankos.
Okay.
It was vigorous, the program, when we did the theory of public administration and everything. I think it was a rigorous process for me. Honestly, I don't know if there are others who have proximity. And the reason I couldn't be allowed to finish the master's is because of I'm broke now. I couldn't pay my fees. I still owe fees at Mankos. So, and I think if I had money, obviously, I would have, unlike public institutions, I was even thinking about the University of Limpopo. I think, I've also seen you on the queues of people who were financially excluded, and then the system allows you back. And I was even telling someone about Prof. Makalongore. I've seen him the beginning of the year, how he would assist many students who have outstanding fees that are very scary, just to let them be in the system and complete their courses. But with private institutions, they don't play. You see, Mara, you are raising something that, as long as it's something that can give them profit, is going to be smooth sailing.
Yeah, that is why I'm saying it's lucky for you, who is honest in the program. But many of leaders in the ANC, it's a crisis. This person does not have time to read, man. It's always gavalavanting with girls there. We lost studies as well. How will that person in actual fact study? And it's very much painful. Rena, Mr. Maswanga,
You're gonna make more enemies with
when those who raised me, they never had fear. I fear no one. I fear no one. The enemy will never smile in my face. If the enemy is angry at me, it means that I'm doing the great job. The enemy must forever be angry because the enemy is always antagonizing my progress. And likewise, I've said that the situation is so disturbing, especially on financial exclusion.
Yeah.
Because I must tell you and the viewers, the listeners, no one in my family has ever even paid a little cent
For your studies.
for my studies.
You just got admitted to the system.
I got admitted. I think my mother gave me 3,000 for the first time.
That was it.
That was it. I entered the university through the ANC. The ANC is the one that took me to school. I completed my degree.
ANC used to have a very good program. I
Yes.
still remember there was a very good program
Yes.
raising funds.
Yes.
Especially the beginning of the year, to assist students
Yes.
to pay their debts and also re-register. And that program is gone.
Yes.
The last time, without even trying to mention names, I still remember when Lebo was a secretary of
Yes.
something. Lebo used to deal with that.
That was done by Castle Matale.
Yeah.
Yes.
That program.
We must not be ashamed of raising the name.
That program helped a lot of students. I
Yes.
remember it.
Yes.
Where most of comrades will be prioritized, but also others.
Yes.
Because it's a list that we
Yeah.
had.
They will liaise with the university.
In fact, people will go to France Mutlala
Yes,
for
and
their fees
queue.
to be cleared.
Yes.
Not at school.
Definitely, I'm part of that generation. Wow. I've been assisted by the ANC. Even when I'm working, when I started to do my public admin program, the ANC paid for it. I never paid even a little cent. When I started my master's, the ANC, I was the provincial secretary of the Youth League. The ANC paid that thing.
I saw on your master's the acknowledgement. The first thing you do is to acknowledge the African National Congress for affording you the opportunity to study.
Yes.
Now it makes sense.
Yes. My doctorate, if it was not the ANC that deployed me in that legislature, I would have done my doctorate or finished my doctorate.
Yeah, because it's expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
The ANC, through their deployment in that legislature, they've assisted me. Remember that there is a lot of financial assistance in government.
But do you know that program of assisting students is now done by other parties?
Definitely.
And I don't know why the ANC has stopped completely.
It's done by the EFF. The problem with you are not talking straight to issues. It's only done now by the EFF. They were doing it when they were in the ANC.
Kdas.
Now you'll no longer know where to run to. Especially those that are coming from the same background with me. I'm who I am because of the ANC. If I wanna- Hey, we talk, we make them angry. We talk, we make them angry. Some of them, they can't even confront us and tell us straight. Because right now we respond here and there. We don't wait tomorrow. We don't
have a
fear.
progressive program that they let down, and now it's run by the EFF, assisting and putting people to school. That should be a concern.
It's a concern because now, for example, is the greediness of the material condition. What do I mean? That comrades are greedy to an extent that, for example, when I became the secretary of the Youth League, you know the experience that I learned. You go to office, you find that in the office they told you that no, the organization does not have money. And I was very controversial if you were to listen to me at that time. To say, what do you mean when the ANC does not have money? Because we are in charge of, in Limpopo, we are in charge of 11 institutions. We are in charge of municipalities. We are in charge of everything. But that does not mean, like what they were saying to me, that no, it means you are promoting comrades to go and steal. And so, no, I don't promote comrades to go and steal. When you are in charge, you are in charge. You must make anything possible to advance the revolution. And that particular statement make many leaders in the ANC very much angry. Even today, they're still angry because I speak truth to power. I don't fear anyone. I speak truth to power. That the ANC is capable to do anything possible. Anything which is wrong, I talk about it right as it is. Even in the last, when we were going to a conference, I was speaking my views. Even now, the next coming conference, I'm going to speak about my views. I'm not that a rented mob myself. No. I'm not a rented mob. I speak my view. What do I want?
And the dropout rates among students, mostly social pressures, academic in general, that a rule A19, and also financial exclusion. I tried it with my program. I have a program, the DJ Cappuccino Higher Education Trust. But I used to fund it well when I was doing well in business. So to take a large sum of my profit to assist especially final year students who you can see their records, but now they can't pay their previous fees. I used to zone in on that. But now because I'm broke, I can't do it anymore. But this dropout rate, if you look at measures that institutions can take to retain students or ensure academic success, and as we have mentioned that institutions like Bo University of Limpopo, I know, around February they turn a blind eye and get as many people in the program. And you'd see people queuing in, and then after getting their proof of registrations around that time. And then I would appreciate. And then even when I had a bit of problems with the university and also with Prof. Mokalong, but I would think of what he used to do for the students. And it was imprinted in my mind, but this man has been also doing good, especially with regard to that. And it's something that we need to revisit and look to, because we are poor.
Definitely. Remember that the ANC have assisted to come up with a program of NSFAS. You yourself, you came with TEFSA.
Yeah, we were TEFSA.
At that time.
Yeah.
But at some point, that TEFSA could not pay the whole tuition fees. Now, NSFAS is paying the whole. The only problem is the performance of an individual learner, where in actual fact, technically, you find that a learner maybe did not perform well in one subject or the other, and it's affected his or a payment for NSFAS. Then before, in that scenario, we had a program where, like was indicated of the ANC, where they pay a student their assist in that regard. And there were thousands and thousands of students who will return so that they could not face this animal called dropout. You are indicating that Professor Makhalong in the University of Limpopo has done that over many years, and I think he's still continuing to do that. If, for example, his approach. But the manner in which this dropout rate is so high, comparatively, is unlike before. Because before, you could not have, for example, also means you only survive in the ANC. But now, if you perform well and there are no technical glitches, then as far as pays you in full, if, for example, you have applied. It depends on the individual person performance. Mara, yaore moto a reject we in the university on the basis of financial.
It should have been a thing of the
Yeah, it's the things of the past now. If you are performing very well, NSFAS accommodate you 100%. We must just give credit to the government for that, because we've reduced the number of learners who are dropping out. At least now, if they perform well, they are not affected. If they are not performing, they will be, of course, affected. And the good thing that I like about these learners, new learners, is the fact that they are no longer like us.
Yeah.
You know, when I arrived in the University of Limpopo, I saw Galitos there. You know, I saw the stones that are decorated in Times Square. You know, during our days, you can't put stones in Times Square.
I haven't seen.
No, you go to Times Square.
I've seen that part.
Yeah, you must go to Times Square. They've decorated with stones. Lot of stones there. So, different to us. So, which shows that the revolution has completely changed.
Yeah.
Therefore, we must adapt to new realities.
I want us to wrap up because I think there's a lot we can talk on this matter, but I want us to talk about long-term solutions, especially inclusive access, also with regard to infrastructure. Like, what is it that comes to your mind that you think, if decisions are taken, can assist the problems that we're having in institutions of higher learning?
Yeah, I think, likewise, you have indicated, Mr. Maswanganyi, we have said the Department of Higher Education, in collaboration with private sector and other stakeholders, they must build more infrastructure so that they can able to absorb more students. Right now, we've indicated we are sitting as 26 universities, which is not enough. They must just take a deliberate decision. It is them who must have what we call a political will, like what the government then, under the leadership of Jacob Zuma, they've done, to go there and build more universities so that they accommodate more students. When you enter inside university, part of the reason why they reject students, even though they performed very well, is on the basis that they've got small classroom, they've got small lecture halls, they've got small libraries. So I think I'm happy because if we are to give an example with the University of Limpopo, now that library, I think, has been extended because of the number of students that they continue to absorb, and they need to have open and access for students for
And
teaching
it's
and
more
learning.
digital.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there must be that political will by the leadership to go and build more university. But also, with regard to that, will require funding. They must put more money. They must put more resources to this institution. Not only universities, as I've indicated, I've clubbed them also with the TET Colleges. They must fund them so that the culture of teaching and learning become so much easier. And the other thing that I've indicated is the fact that we need to educate more, especially those instructors. We need to absorb more instructors who will be able to handle different programs in the universities. But also because of the situation which we have now, let's encourage our parents. Let's enroll or engage in a serious program where we conscientize our people about the significance of taking their children to TET Colleges.
Wow.
So that they are able to learn or to be given skills that are needed by the market. So I think, to me, those are the critical things that I believe that our own government should look into, but not forgetting to collaborate with private sector. Remember that private sector, they play a huge role in terms of skills demand.
They must not kill us with this profit thing.
They must not kill us with the profit. Remember, government must be the nerve center. They must be in the middle ground for both private and this particular institution, so that they can be able to advance their program, but also looking at increasing what you call infrastructure demand. I think that could help. The only bottlenecks that we're having is that we see these things, but there is nothing, any means. Because if, for example, the minister advised us to apply for central admission and so forth, the program that I indicated for admission, without looking at the problem why there is this limited capacity, obviously we are not going anywhere. Every year we'll be talking, we'll be talking English.
Honestly.
Yes. Yeah. So there must be that particular political and administrative will to be able to build more infrastructure so that we can be able to accommodate more students also for the near future.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I can take for now.
Thank you very much. Before we close, I noticed that you named your son Castle. Is it because of Castle Matale?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There is only Castle, the one.
If God had to bless you with another 5 sons, will there be a Julius or a Jacob also on the name?
Probably. Because remember that we are inspired by leaders.
Yeah.
I was sharing information with many leaders, I think even yesterday, that were inspired by leaders.
Yeah.
Castle Matale is a role model
to
many of us.
And also Julius is a role model to many in the ANC.
Let me say, the issue of Julius needs a thorough thinking, which you are right. Mandela inspired the generation of 1976. They were indoctrinated. If you check the generation of Castle Matale, Peter Mokaba, they were indoctrinated through the politics of Mandela. They know Mandela. And then in 1985, until us, we were indoctrinated through the politics of Peter Mokaba. We were taught about Peter Mokaba. We want to wear, we want to talk, we want to do everything like Peter. But our kids, now, they speak another language. And can you tell me who's the person who's living, legend, whom in actual fact we can say no?
It's your youth league guy. Who's your youth league guy? Who's your youth league guy?
Youth.
Who's the president of the youth league?
Of the youth?
Yeah. ANC.
It's Colin Malachi.
It's Colin Malachi inspiring them.
You are searching for me.
No, it's a statement.
Yes,
not a question.
Any leader of the youth league, remember, will inspire. There were many leaders in the ANC. This thing of inspiration, You know, during Pitamakaba, there were many leaders. Pella, we had Norman Mashaban, fellow fight. We had Alec and Chavili. We have Pitan Chavili.
Michile.
We have Wanga Sigila. We have Spiwe Zuma. We seen this and so on.
Oh, yeah.
But not all of them will be inspirational in society.
I understand.
It was Pitamakaba. We were indoctrinated through the politics of Pitamakaba.
Then Malusi, ne?
No.
I'm just talking about the lineage of the...
Yeah, they were there. They were all of us will be
Then
leaders in the
came
ANC.
Fikile.
Including Colin Malaji is a leader in the ANC.
It's in its own right.
In his own right. But the people will be inspired by the leadership. From Mandela, there's Pitamakaba. From Pitamakaba, there is someone. And now, as we are speaking, you can't tell us about, for example, Zuma. You can't tell us about President Ramaphosa. You can't tell us about me. History is the right teacher. It will tell us who will be the next Pitamakaba. And in that history.
If these cameras were switched off and we were talking, were you going to admit that the problem started with the disbandment of the ANC Youth League of Port Julius in the ANC? Don't answer it. I'm just saying we can tell them to switch off so that you can...
No, I can respond to it.
You can?
Yes, I can
Can you
respond.
respond?
No, you have exactly pointed it. The problem started even there.
Ladies
The
and gentlemen,
suppression of the political debate within the ANC has caused problem because to them, they were saying, no, Julius could not be handled, Julius could not be done what, could not be managed, and they decided, in fact, President Zuma decided to expel him. President Zuma, 9 years when he was deputizing President Thabo Mbeki,
yeah,
10 years when he became the president, he could not see all these problems that the ANC is faced with. But now you can see, can unite Africans and so forth. It's a topic for another day. He's the one that in actual fact killed the ANC. When he left the ANC,
and he's now continuing to gwaza.
yes, wa gwaza. Wabona wa gwaza no.
He's been gwazing you guys.
30%.
He's been gwazing you, that man.
He's been gwazing us. Even today, we are suffering a serious political backlash from President Zuma. Yeah. At the time when he was the president, all these things were nice. Now things are bad.
Dr. Che, I want this to be your home. And I want you to frequent this place to discuss several issues. And I think not only because of your intelligence, but I think because of your boldness. I've interviewed people who say something different when we're outside, but something different when they're sitting there. I'm noticing that what you said outside, you still say when you are sitting there, and I acknowledge that, and I really appreciate that. We would love for you to come here when there's any issue you want us to discuss and deliberate on. This must be a home because you're going to add value and you're going to empower a lot of people. And also those who are also aspiring to become academics, also those aspiring to become politicians, to learn how you must actually stand firm and put the word across. So I want to thank you for coming to Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
No, thanks and much appreciated to you and your listeners.
My brother.
No, thanks.
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.